Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, people, and welcome to the Rational League. Of course, I have never seen a meltdown like this in my life. Wallah al-Azim, and I swear to God. I've never seen a transfer that get that much attention for a player that 99% of the fans that are vocal do want. Like everyone. Like I'm talking Lee, I'm talking Turkish, I'm talking people in AFTV, I'm talking Dan Potts, I'm talking Lee Judges. Even Rory is like skeptical a little bit about the signings, right? And I have never seen a signing where 100% of a fan base are so happy that he left their club for that price. Like I've never seen it. Like there is not one Chelsea fan that is upset that Madueke left for that price. And it's actually crazy. Is that signing good? Is that signing bad? We'll talk about it. It all depends on the window, of course. And that's paired with the Liverpool rumors about Darwin Núñez, about Luis Diaz leaving, about them trying to sign Ekitike, Isak, Rodrygo as well. They actually are trying to sign Rodrygo. They might. And also the timeline, and it's the last thing I'm going to say, which is I tweeted yesterday this. The timeline for the Arsenal transfer window is crazy. Early June, Gyökeres and Cisco, Arsenal interested. Mid-June, Arsenal are interested in Gyökeres, Rodrygo, Cisco. End of June, Zubamendi is done deal. Beginning of July, Zubamendi announced. 6th of July, Gyökeres is very close, and it's almost here we go by Fabrizio Romano. 9th of July, Arsenal interested in Madueke. 10th of July, Madueke, here we go. If you think about it from that timeline, it's the craziest timeline I've seen for a transfer window in my life. But listen, big up everyone that is here. Rory is here with us. Jamie's story is here with us, of course, on the football story with the new look on his channel. Of course, hit that like button, people, if you're here. Let's get the likes up a little bit. What is going on? Why is Arsenal moving against all the fans? I don't understand. I really want someone, and I take you, Rory, to them as one of the most rational people I've spoken to. You're positive. People call you toxic positive. I don't. I say you're someone who backs the club, but you call it out when you. There is no logical explanation for this. It's not. None. Zero.
No. I mean, I just realised you titled it Rory backs Madueke, which is
No. With a question mark.
Well, with a question mark, so that's okay.
The question mark is here, and also I changed the title to be a good signing.
No, look, I think. I mean, I will back Madueke as a player as soon as he has an Arsenal shirt on. Like that's my way of supporting. Is that it's not his fault that he's gone for that much money. It sounds like he's not demanding like crazy wages. He's going to be on similar wages to what he was on at Chelsea. And once he's in an Arsenal shirt and he's an Arsenal player, doing anything but supporting him and trying to get the best out of him is like, you know, you may as well just punch yourself in the face. It's pointless. Do I agree with the signing and the fee? No. Like, fundamentally, I don't understand why we've spent that much money on a player like Madueke, where unless the plan is to start him off the left, which I would disagree with in principle anyway, it's a lot of money to spend on a backup to Saka. And look, there's elements to it where we needed a backup to Saka. We've cried out to have some proper depth for Saka. And I wanted that to be a player that was similar-ish to Saka in the sense of being a left-footed player that will carry the ball, that will cut inside. That I felt like we needed that. Were there other players on the market you could have done maybe for cheaper? I look at Yohan Bakayoko as an alternative option that probably wouldn't have been as expensive, maybe. And then I just look at the allocation of funds that we've had for attacking players over the last, since Arteta arrived. This is our 7th forward signing. It's our 2nd most expensive forward signing. And I'm just not sure why we're doing it now. Like, you know, if we didn't have the money in January to buy a single attacking player when we desperately needed one, but then we can pluck up 52 mil for Madueke, I just think it's a bit crazy. My only logical explanation, if I tried to get in the head of the club, there's 2, right? One, Todd Bowley has pictures of Stan Kroenke bending Mikel Arteta over at London Colney.
I tweeted this.
Right, that's option 1. Option 2 is the actual breakdown of the deal financially. Arsenal couldn't turn it down. So even though it's 52 million, including add-ons, we don't know what the breakdown of that is. And maybe it's actually only 30 million up front or 35 million up front. And that 30 million can be broken down into payments of like 10 million a year for 3 years. And that was therefore, with the wages that he's on, a good value player to bring us a backup. And Chelsea benefit from it because they, for their like UEFA financial thing, can just say that's a £52 million sale. That's the value of it. An Arsenal benefit, because I can't otherwise rationalise when we're negotiating over like 5 million euros for Victor Gyökeres, and that's going on and on and on, why we would immediately bite the bullet with Noni Madueke, who can't even play for us for the next 3 weeks anyway. So we're going to be paying his wages for the next 3 weeks whilst he's on holiday.
Why can't he play for the next? Oh, yeah.
Because he's at the Club World Cup, so he's got to go on holiday now. So there's no rational way unless we were just presented with a deal. And if you look at all of our deals this summer, a huge amount of them have been, the negotiating has been on structure, right? So we dropped out of Sesko because they wanted too much money up front. We're negotiating with Sporting because they want an extra 5 million up front that we don't want to pay. Eze is appealing to us because his £60 million release clause can be broken down into 3 sets of 20. So that's what we've done throughout the window. And so maybe that's what Chelsea approached us with. But I think the timing of it especially just looks crazy.
Can I play the devil's advocate before Jimmy comes in? Some Chelsea fan tweeted saying that the price for Madueke for 52 million is actually very fair, looking at how much Elanga went for, how much Kudus went for, how much Gibbs White went for, how much all these people went for. He's saying basically what he said is it makes a lot of sense to sign Madueke for that much money if Arsenal are looking for someone to improve their squad and their team. But what it doesn't make sense is what you said. When Chelsea asked for 55 million and Arsenal are still haggling over 4 million pounds for Victor Gyökeres, why couldn't Arsenal haggle that 4 million pounds and just allocate them to Victor Gyökeres is what I don't understand. And also at the same time, Noni Madueke, and I repeat again, can come in at the end of the window. Like, there is nobody.
So this is what I'm saying. So Chelsea are the ones that needed to make the sale now. Chelsea are the ones that couldn't wait. And so again, that's where they've just got, because they don't need the actual cash, right? Chelsea don't have a cash problem. They have a financial fair play problem.
A books problem. They need to balance the books. So that needs to be put on the books, yes.
Exactly. So they can make a 52 million sale on the books where actually Arsenal maybe actually only paid them 10 million this summer. So that's where I think maybe that's where it makes sense. And this isn't me trying to gaslight. Someone accused me of gaslighting. I literally said there's two possible scenarios. I'm offering some sort of rational reason. If we make an assumption that Arsenal aren't being blackmailed over nudes and aren't just completely mental, like there's the assumption that there's some reason.
What I don't understand is Chelsea are direct competitor to Arsenal. Like genuinely, they are direct competitors. Especially if Chelsea take that money and allocate it to someone. For example, if Chelsea sell Nico Jackson, so Chelsea have to. I'm going to give you a scenario that is very simple and people will understand it. Chelsea have got 30 million pounds for Noni Madueke up front. The rest is payment. So basically, Chelsea on paper now can spend 52 million because in the books, if they sell Nico Jackson for 40 million, they can basically go and compete with Arsenal for Rodrygo. If Rodrygo is 86 million euros. And now maybe that front line of Chelsea is stronger than Arsenal unless Arsenal go and sign their Rodrygo and Victor Gyökeres. So basically it's the same as if Man City went and bought Darwin Núñez for their striking option from Liverpool, and Liverpool went and got Isak. I'm like, you're strengthening your direct opponent for the league. I understand it if Noni Madueke with a PSV Eindhoven or an Aston Villa player or a Brighton player. That I understand. Being a Chelsea player, it doesn't make sense. You're strengthening your opponent. You're giving them money. Am I wrong, Jamie?
No, yeah, I think you're right. I've been kind of going back and forth with the Madueke deal, though. And I think initially when you kind of see it, you're like 50 million. I don't think he scored 2 goals in his last 19 games in the league for Chelsea. So like his output hasn't been there other than he started kind of well at the start of the season. I remember the hat-trick against Wolves. But it is overpriced. But then I'm thinking, you think Saka, his injury last year, like that really hampered Arsenal. And if Arsenal bring in Madueke, who's someone that can fill in when maybe Saka's not there. And I think we have to take a little bit of perspective as well around Arsenal, because if they go and get someone else like Rodrygo and put him left wing and Madueke is kind of added to the squad, then the whole output of it is changed. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's where I'm kind of like, I understand maybe the angle they're trying to take, but we need to see what other players that they get in. Like, is Madueke a terrible player? No. Do you know what I mean? You can see that he has quality. He's young, but I think the reason it's gotten so much attention now is because Arsenal fans and rival fans, we all know what Arsenal need, and it's not players that are squad players. They need players that are going to get them over the line to win big trophies. And I think Madueke is not that. So I just think that's why people are just like saying it's just a silly transfer to do, and there's no need for them to go out and get Madueke. It should be prioritized and getting Gyökeres over the line. Like Rory was saying, like they were able to stump up the money pretty quickly for Madueke with the extra like 5 million or what it was, but they're haggling with over Gyökeres, and he's the one that could potentially be the difference maker. It doesn't make sense for me in that way, and I think. Yeah, at the end of the window, if they got Rodrygo, Gyökeres, Madueke, Zubimendi, then you're kind of saying, well, that's a really good transfer window because they got three players to come in and a squad player on top of that. But right now, as a standalone transfer and not having got the other ones over the line, it does look a bit silly. And whether the nudes are real, I don't know. But yeah, it does look a bit stupid from where we're standing right now.
The problem is a lot of Arsenal fans are saying that Madueke is a shit player.
But
he's not that bad.
No, like, he's not.
Is he a starter for a league-winning team? Is he... Okay, I have this term, but maybe you guys didn't hear it before I say it on other streams. Guys, we have 500 people. Can we get the likes to 200, guys? The like button underneath your live chat, so hit that like button. I'm going to say a league-winning material player. He's not. At the current moment, he's not a league-winning material player. Arsenal have the likes of Zubimendi, league-winning material, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, I think Lewis Kelly, I think Saka is. But that is it. Odegaard, it depends on what Odegaard you're going to get. Are you going to get the Odegaard of 22-23, or are you going to get Odegaard of the 24-25? That's why I think Arsenal are signing Eze, in my opinion, because Eze is very flexible in terms of playing left, central, can give competition. There is too much going on with Eze that you actually can say he is a brilliant addition. I think he's going to bang. And I'm going to talk about Eze in a bit because I have a very wild take about Eze that people might not understand because he plays for Crystal Palace. Madueke as a backup for Saka is stronger than Nwaneri backup for Saka. The reason why, because Madueke has more experience than Nwaneri. He has more minutes under his belt. But at the same time, these funds don't make sense today. If the window ends with Eze, Madueke, Gyökeres, Zubamendi, that window is not fantastic, by the way. It's an 8 out of 10 window. Because I believe that Arsenal could have tried, at least try for Rodrygo, Eze, Gyökeres, and then at the end of the window, you can haggle with Chelsea for Madueke. That would be a 10 out of 10 window.
Yeah.
Because the difference in price between Madueke and Rodrygo is not actually that far. 52 million to 86 million is not a lot of money. Arsenal can raise that fund.
The wages are a huge.
Yeah.
If reportedly Madueke is going to be on under 100k a week, and Rodrygo wants 300k a week, so that's 10 million. That's over 10 million a year difference.
But Rory, you're trying to win the league. But you're trying to win the league.
No, I agree. I'm saying
you get my point about you're trying to win the league. Arsenal are not building anymore. Like this is.
No, I agree.
Like you know what? You're at the edge. You are staying at the edge, right? It's either you put all your power into, you squeeze every single bit of your power to try to win it, or you're gonna fall. Liverpool, for example, on the other hand, because they won the league last season, they have that leeway. They have this room of like, yeah, maybe we can get Ekitike and see how it goes, and we try to push for someone else. I am just saying that Arsenal don't have that leeway. And I believe that, I don't know, you go to the stadium. You are someone who goes to the stadium all the time. If Arsenal don't get, and if the starting 11 in the next season is starting the season with Zubamendi, Odegaard, and Rice, and you get Saka, Gyökeres, for example, and Martinelli, and Madueke is on the bench. If Madueke comes on, if you're struggling the first game against Man United, you're playing Old Trafford, right? If you play Old Trafford and you're struggling and you get Madueke and you don't win the game, that 50%, and I believe that it's 60% in the stadium that are with Arteta, with the club, they back the club, 50% of them will turn, will be anxious, will be so nervous the next game. They won't wait. But if you get Rodrygo, for example, and you get Eze and Gyökeres, even if you don't win the next game, people will say, I will wait. You know what I mean? We'll wait a little bit. The Arsenal, and I believe that the board, to be honest with you, I believe they're stupid. They don't read the room. By the way, I'm being completely honest here. I believe that this signing today is already making people on edge. Even Rory himself, his tweets are like, and Rory is someone who backs the player that John Arse. He's skeptical. He's like, are we doing the right thing, or what is going on? I was meant to believe that we're gonna get Gyökeres first, and it took 24 hours. And Arsenal caved for Madueke. They wanted 55. Arsenal offered 552 tomorrow. Okay, let's do the deal. Like even the most positive Arsenal fans are so anxious. They're waiting. They're like, how did that happen? And by the way, there are a lot of people in my comments. When I did the live yesterday evening, in the comment section, in the video I released this morning, and then Rory, I don't know, have your comment section been positive about the signing?
No, not about the price. Not about the price of it. And that's the main sticking point. I think if you took if it was half the price and it wasn't Chelsea, like if we just done it straight from PSV, people wouldn't have complained at all about it. I mean, people keep putting Malcolm keeps saying stop gaslighting. Firstly, you don't know what gaslighting means, so stop using the word incorrectly. And secondly, if you're not capable of looking at two sides of an argument and putting both across, you will go nowhere in life. Like if you want to go and see someone who's just going to sit here and scream and shout and cry, go to a different channel. This is the Rational League. But the point is, Arsenal now have made a signing for 50 million quid that is effectively a backup, right? That is normal at Man City. That is normal at Chelsea. But at Arsenal, that's not normal because we've not done it before. But we're also looking at bringing in Victor Gyökeres, who will either be a backup or he'll make Havertz a backup. So we are getting to the point where it is normal to have expensive backup options, and not having those last year massively cost us. So, like I said, I will keep saying the price for me is over the top, but I can understand. And I do look at, like, if we end up with Eze and Madueke instead of just Rodrygo, is that basically we've gone for having more depth rather than higher quality? my preference would be go Rodrygo, because that massively upgrades the actual starting 11. And when it comes to the biggest
because you
games
have
and the biggest
Nwaneri who
moments,
can fill in that place.
Yeah.
you've still got Nwaneri. So if you did Rodrygo and Madueke, if that was possible, I think that would be better. But at the end of the day, if Saka gets a big injury this season, suddenly you look at 50 mil for Madueke and you go, that was worth it. If he doesn't, and Madueke doesn't play much, and we end up losing out on things because, once again, we still don't have an elite left winger, then you go, that was a bad use of funds. So you've got to look at what happens at the end rather than at the start. But again, Doku, £50 million player, rotational option at Man City, no one blinks.
Even Gonzalez, Nico Gonzalez.
Nico Gonzalez comes in for 60 million January, already looking at shipping him out. No one blinks. Chelsea, 60 million on Estevao after having 50 million on Neto, 50 million on Bino Gittins, 50 million on João Pedro. No one blinks. This is normal behaviour for other clubs. So if Arsenal continue this way and continue to spend this way, then I think it's fine. But if now for the next 3 years we don't buy another attacker after this window because we don't have the funds, then people will, again, go back to questioning it.
But the problem is Chelsea. The problem is Chelsea. It's Chelsea.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. So from Chelsea's perspective, I can understand 50 million as a valuation. Because if they're looking at Elanga and they're looking at Kudus, for them, in the selling market, that makes sense.
Can I give you stop? I'm just going to stop you for 1 second.
Yeah.
But there is a caveat to what you're saying, Rory. You are giving Chelsea profit on their third choice right winger after he didn't live up to the hype.
Yeah.
And that is a difference. Elanga, for example, went to Nottingham Forest for whatever. I don't like Elanga. I think Madueke is better. And I explained it plenty of times for my viewers, and I explained it with you guys about tight spaces and a 40%. Jamie, I know you watch some of the shows, I think. And I am telling you, Madueke play in a team, and I'm going to explain it for the last time for the people in the chat. Madueke, let me explain it. Madueke plays in a team that average 60+% position. Elanga plays in a team that averaged 40% position last season, third from the bottom. Arsenal averaged 67% position against most teams. Which one suits you better? The one that only flourish in the 40%? Also, especially, both of them are backups. So, and I'm going to tell you, if Arsenal are struggling in a game, that means Arsenal have 75% position. If Arsenal are not winning and they need a backup, that means in this game, Arsenal are 75% position. There are no spaces for Elanga to run. There is no 30 yards. He needs to work in 2 yards by 2 yards. Madueke is better. That's based on what we've seen last season. If people don't understand this and they go by the counter attack and the number of goals, it's fine. Watch the stats. You watch the game, Madueke needs 40 yards to run to score a goal or create an assist. Madueke is different. Is he miles better than Elanga? No. But does he suit Arsenal more than Elanga? 100%. And if you don't understand this, debate me.
I understand your point, but my kind of thing with Elanga is that he's obviously playing in a Forest team, and that's how they play. They're going to have less possession than most teams, and they obviously play a little bit more in the counter-attack, but that's just how they play. I think him going to Newcastle suits him really well. I understand your point with Madueke. He's a bit more going to get on the ball, a bit more maybe guile when he has it, but I don't know. I don't think either of them suit Arsenal, to be honest, in terms of the signings that they should have made. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, I think it's more frustration, I think, from Arsenal fans. I think they're the ones that they feel like they're so close. And if I'm looking at it from Arteta's perspective, I'm kind of like, right, we're going into this transfer window. I probably know this is likely going to be my last window if I don't get this right. And it just seems like they're kind of, I know obviously with Edu being changed and stuff, but it just seems like they're kind of him and hawing about over 4, 5, 6, 7 million with Gyökeres, and then they go out and pay 55 million for Madueke. So the money is there, but there's a player that if you feel Gyökeres is the man to get you over the line, go out and pay the money. It does not matter how much that is. Just go out and pay it, because realistically, Madueke is probably not going to get you over the line. Whereas if Gyökeres is, then it doesn't matter if he's worth 100 million, 120 million. If he wins a league and a Champions League, I was on a live as well before, and I said about the comparison between Van Dijk when Liverpool were they were fourth, third, they kind of just got kind of on the come up with Klopp. They knew they needed a centre back. Defensively, they were leaky, and Arsenal's just the opposite end of the spectrum now. And they need to go out and buy someone. It doesn't matter about the price. Everyone said that Van Dijk was overpriced when we went out and got him. And now it looks like an absolute bargain because they go on and win 2 Premier League, Champions League, multiple cups. It doesn't matter about the price. And people won't remember that. They'll say, oh, it's overpriced regardless. So I think the frustration comes.
The frustration comes from the Madueke one less than I think we're doing the right thing with Victor Gyökeres because we hold all the cards. Like Sporting are negotiating from a point that like they're gonna have to crumble at some point. Like David Ornstein said, Gyökeres hasn't turned up to training today. He's not going to turn up tomorrow. Like he's never going to play for them again. And so I think for the sake of like £5 million, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it like we can wait at least another week. So if you wait, you save 5 million. Like that, I have no problem with. It's then when you go and spunk it on Madueke so quickly, and maybe Chelsea will like, look, this offer is here until the end of this week, and then we'll have to look elsewhere. I don't know, but would you not like so similar to Sporting in that position? You're kind of like, right, you want Madueke for 55 million. I'm Arsenal. We need other players in other positions. Madueke is not a priority. If you go out and sell him to someone else for 55 million, fair play. But like, we're not going to be pressurized into paying that because he's available now for that price. Do you know what I mean? I just think priority wise, it's like
but if you notice, Jamie, in all the tweets of Ben Jacob, David Ornstein, and Hand of Arsenal, and Fabrizio Romano, there is one key word that is there that people keep forgetting. Every time they speak about it, every time Fabrizio releases a video about it, every time Ben Jacobs is on the football terrace, they say the relationship between Chelsea and Arsenal are excellent. They stress so much in this as these two clubs are actually in full agreement about everything. And I think that is key. Yes, we are talking about their rivals, and it doesn't look this way. It looks like Chelsea sat with Arsenal. Arsenal said, we want the player. Chelsea said, this is the price. We agree on the price. Let's make the deal happen. It is not like what you say, Jamie, is in the world of like two rivals. It's like, if you want to sell him, sell him. We're going to find another player. It's up to you. But it looks like Arsenal are okay with helping Chelsea, and Chelsea are okay with giving Arsenal what they want. It's okay. And I think that is key. There's no rivalry there in terms of like deals and ownership and sporting directors. They're all in agreement. It took 24 hours. You know what I mean? And I believe that the deal structure, Jamie, I believe that the structure as well is going to be okay with both clubs. This club, we want this club, we want that. Fine. Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it done.
But it's not about rivalries or like having a good relationship or everything like that. It's about winning. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but for you, for them, it doesn't work like this.
No, but if you have a really good but if you have a really good relationship, say Arsenal and Chelsea, really good relationship. Well, I would expect that because Chelsea are able to sell like nearly all their average players for like loads of money, whether it's Arsenal, Man United, like anyone else buying in. Like you look at Mount that's gone for 60 million. Like they're able to sell players for a lot of money. Why wouldn't they have good relationships with players that want to, or clubs that want to pay that
so
money?
Why would Arsenal have a good relationship with them?
But that's what I mean.
There has to be something going on.
Yeah, no, but I'm not going to get into
this is the thing.
Conspiracies.
I'm not saying conspiracy. They are their own businessmen. Exactly, Jamie. They're businessmen. They're looking at the books. They are looking at the books and the deals and amortization and all the stuff, Jamie. Like they are taking it from a business perspective. You want this player? We want to sell that player. Let's make the deal happen. They're looking at it from that perspective.
Yeah, okay, but like you're taking it from say a business perspective, right? But that's good for Chelsea. So, say from Arsenal going out and spend that money, like what is the like Arsenal? I think what record selling of players is Oxlade-Chamberlain for 40 million. So, like all they're doing is spending money that like they should be spending elsewhere. So I don't understand. Maybe it's something in the background, like they're like I don't know, Kroenke and Bowley are really good mates or something, and they have other stuff going on. But that doesn't help Arsenal fans. You know what I mean? So they have a right to be annoyed about that situation.
This deal. The PR for the Kroenkes from this deal is fine because he'll look at it. Stan probably looks at it. He goes, and we don't know the breakdown of the structure, but if we say it's favourable for Arsenal, he could look at it and go, okay, I could spend 10 million on this player this summer, but it's going to look like I've spent 50. So when people say I've not invested, by the end of this summer, Arsenal have maybe spent over 200 million. How much has he actually spent because of the way that all of those structures are? Maybe like 60 or 70. So... yeah, and I mean, someone said maybe it even ends up venturing out into other sports. Like if you've got American businessmen that own multiple clubs and franchises across multiple sports, there's nothing really to stop them behind closed doors saying, "I'll tell you what, you help us with this situation in the Premier League, and then we'll scratch your back in the NFL or whatever." Like, you never know. I mean, I'll always say I don't think the Kroenkes care about winning. I think they care about.
From football point of view, but let me do this. Thank you so much. Big LZ saying Arsenal get more leverage. Joker is not showing up sporting preseason. And without going, Zini, Trossard can still afford Eze, Rodrygo, and Eucharist and Mosquera. Does anybody here think that Arsenal will sign the three? I actually still... Okay. I'm going to say this. Thank you so much, Big LZ, for this. I had a big fight with Hussam, me and Terry with Hussam on the Football Terrace on Street Fights, about every single report saying that Arsenal, the Madueke is separate from the center mid and the left wing, which is Eze and Rodrygo. Right? I'm not sure if Arsenal will go for both. I don't know. The wages, I don't know.
I think we end up with Madueke, Eze, and Victor Gyökeres.
Do you think you even try for Rodrygo? He's going to be for sale, Rory.
We'll be in the conversation, but I don't see how we do it personally, which is a massive shame, to be honest with you. But like, I don't see a world in which we spend 50 million on Madueke, 60 million on Eze, 70 million on Victor Gyökeres, and then another 80 million on Rodrygo. Like, that we've not done anything to suggest to me that is something that we would do. So
sales. It depends on the sale.
We'd have nothing to sell. Like people say, like Trossard, Fenerbahce don't even want to buy at a push. Zini, 15 at a push. Fabio Vieira, 15. That's 45. Reece Nelson, maybe 10, 55. Sambi Lokonga, maybe 5, probably loan with an obligation. You might push 60 million in sales this summer.
Saliba to Madrid, 90.
No chance. But that's it. That's it. There's like, we could sell a high volume of players, but not for a lot of money. So I just don't.
Yeah, but I think Arsenal I'm like, I know they're not like a Saudi run club, but after like paying off the debts and stuff with the stadium, like you're cash more cash flush now than you ever have been. You know what I mean? In terms of like being able to bring in players. So it's more about the structure of deals now.
Yeah,
you know more about that than me, but it's more my understanding is that they have more money to spend now than they have in previous.
Oh, we've got I mean, we've got plenty to spend, but I mean, we'd be pushing it, including Zubimendi as well. Even without Rodrygo, you're pushing like 250 if you've done Eze, Madueke, Victor Gyökeres. So I don't know. Personally, I don't see it happening. But and the thing is, if at the start of the window you said to Arsenal fans, you'll end the summer with Zubimendi, Norgard, Mosquera, and then Gyökeres, Eze, Madueke, I think a lot of Arsenal fans would have been very happy with that. Because we've been linked to Rodrygo for a while, I think then people's expectations changed. But
okay, the people that say
this Gibbs White thing's crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know how what happened. I actually don't know what happened.
So basically, Nottingham Forest are preparing a complaint to the Premier League over alleged illegal conduct surrounding the transfer.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how that happens when there's a release.
Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest are just crying.
It's all this thing, though. Do you know about like talking like the same thing with Trent? Like Trent knew that Madrid were going away from till this year, but so the conversations happened a year ago, and that's like technically illegal. You're only allowed to speak to a player from a different league if you only have 6 months left of your contract. Same with Konate that's happening now. All the clubs do it. But apparently, like what they're saying here is on Sky Sports. So Forest believe that there's been a breach in confidentiality around his release clause because Tottenham's bid was pitched at exactly that level. It's not clear yet if Forest are able to block the transfer entirely. However, it is now expected to be delayed as Forest prepare a complaint to the Premier League.
What are Nottingham Forest trying to do? Are they trying to keep... Okay, but clearly, Gibbs White wanted to go to Spurs. Like, they're not going to trigger his release clause unless they agree personal terms. I don't understand. So they're going to keep the player at ransom? They're going to keep him, like, against his will at the club?
Yeah, so are they trying to say that there was a release clause, but that the release clause wasn't meant to be known by anyone?
Yeah.
And so it's meant to be like, okay, so your release clause that only we know is 60 mil. So if someone makes a 60 mil bid, you can go.
Yeah.
But the assumption would be that maybe a club comes in for like 70 and then therefore it goes over it. But because they went bang on the release clause, they must have known. But I mean, 60 mil is a pretty round number to. Like if it was 60 and a pound.
Has anyone noticed that someone tweeted this? Since Edu went officially, Elanga sold, Gibbs White is leaving, and the team is being ripped apart.
I knew that was going to happen anyway. Don't know, because of the season that they had.
Forest fans. Who's that one Forest fan that came on here one time and just rattled me?
Oh,
they all convinced themselves that they were going to keep all of their players and invest another like 200 million because that's what the owner does. In reality, the owner's tied just like everyone else does, and he just likes to complain to. I mean, that's their fourth legal complaint in the last year. They made a legal complaint about the Premier League, about Sky, about
Gary
Spurs.
Neville.
Yeah.
Ban Gary Neville from the ground.
Yeah.
Has anybody, the last thing about Arsenal, with Big as is saying, Eze can be in 3 installments at once.
That's why we want to do it. We are installments FC, is my opinion.
That's Chelsea, installments
I
FC,
amortization
FC.
Yeah, the amortization thing is interesting nowadays. So I don't know, like
that's irrelevant. So the amortization is to do with the way that it is on the books, which is important for some clubs. It's not for us. Like our PSR limit's like something stupid, like 300 mil. That's not the problem. The problem for us is actual just like cash. It's like we have this much cash to spend. So if you can split it into 10 million for Madueke this summer instead of 25, it means that either the Cronkies don't have to invest more money themselves or take out another loan, which is how they've done it previously. So that's why we want.
So say if it was like 20 million broken into, like, say over 3 years. So that's just a 20 million outlay, but on the books they could still have a say 60 million over 5 years in terms of purposes.
Yeah. So like when we did Declan Rice, that was 2 installments. No, 3 installments, but over 2 years. But then I would imagine on the books it would have probably just been over 5 years to amortize it.
Big up stuff. You didn't say anything that you're joining. You just woke up.
Haven't spoken about United in ages.
I woke up on a good time today. Went to get my coffee.
Calvert-Lewin.
I saw you guys were live, so I was like, I'll join.
Like the thing about it is, like the Arsenal get stronger, guys. Just basic. Does Arsenal get stronger this season than last season?
Still talking about Madueke?
No, talking about Eze and Arsenal, Eucharist in general. Like the Arsenal get stronger. Can they compete?
If they get Gyökeres, Madueke, Zubimendi, I think they're probably one more left winger short. I don't know if they go out and get Eze or. I know
no one has. But that's the thing. No one has everybody. Like even Liverpool, your left wingers are not that strong. Like your striking option last season were not amazing. Like there is no team in the league. Okay, I'm not gaslighting, but I'm being honest here. There is no team in the league that is complete in every single position. And if you go through the Arsenal team, they have the strongest defense in the league. Everyone knows that, right? The midfield, Zubimendi, is supposedly one of the best DMs that comes in. Declan Rice, one of the best 8s. Odegaard is not great, but that's why they're signing Eze, right? Victor Gyökeres comes in, one of the best strikers. Saka's one of the best wingers in the league, right? So if you have one position that is not one of the strongest in the league, why like everyone is like, oh, Arsenal must have the best ever like team in the history of the sport? Like it doesn't make sense to me.
No one said that.
It's because they can't get it wrong.
Some Arsenal fans say that. No, but that's the problem. Is that ask Rory about his tweet. When he tweets, people under is like, we're not winning the league. Oh, this team is not good enough. Yeah, you go through the team, it's good. It's not that bad.
Yeah, but Mo, it's a good team, right? So say like they go out and bring in them players and they're stronger, but they go and then finish second again. Like, it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? They need as best a chance as they can get to go on and win a Premier League or a Champions League. That's just the situation that they're in right now. So like, if their team is improved a little bit and you say you go out and sign one of the best DMs, you go out and sign one of the best strikers out there right now, it doesn't matter, because if they finish second, then that's all that will be remembered. It's like they need to have the best chance possible of signing all the players that they can to go and get over the line.
Yeah, I just don't think I just don't think that would have been possible. I don't think there's any combinations of transfers that we could have realistically made this summer where people would go, Arsenal are like nailed on to win the Premier League next season.
Yes.
fundamentally, Liverpool just came off the back of winning it and immediately bought Wirtz, Kirkes, and Frimpong and addressed like 3 problems that they needed to
I
do.
disagree. You signed Rodrygo, Gyökeres, Eze your favorites to win the league. Unless Liverpool get Issa.
Favorite, I still think people would find flaws in that team. Even if we signed Eze, Gyökeres, and Rodrygo, people would go, no backup for Saka still. Saka still doesn't have a backup. Zubamendi's
should have bought Madueke.
not good enough. People will find flaws. I mean, what's his name on Monday? Was trying to like say that our midfield was too weak because if all 3 midfielders got injured, then the backups wouldn't be good enough. It's like people will find flaws because ultimately, newsflash, the Premier League's pretty good and it's pretty tough to win. So, there's no guarantees no matter what you do.
Arsenal got Wirtz. Okay, Arsenal got Wirtz and Isak, you win it. That is not realistic.
It is for Liverpool.
James. It's not realistic. Arsenal were not in for Wirtz.
Yeah.
Jamie, that is not realistic. I think Rodrygo, Gyökeres, Eze makes you favorites.
I don't think it makes them favorites. Because you don't know.
Even if you did Wirtz, Isak, Zubamendi, that's 300 mil straight off the bat, which is as much as we would ever spend. Yeah. And that still leaves you without doing Norgard. So we're like, the depth of our midfield is non-existent. Leaves you without Mosquera. So you're talking about maybe the depth of the defense is still a struggle. Like, there will always be flaws that people can find. Always.
Yeah, every team has flaws, but I'm sorry. I feel like you guys are making a little bit too many excuses here, and I feel like Mo is just making hyperbolic statements or claims about what the fans are stating just to say, oh yeah, like it was never gonna happen anyways. I'm sorry. When you look at their summer, I think it's been very underwhelming, considering that, in my opinion, at least, I said this.
Bro, you're looking at sounding Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Let's put some things into perspective here.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with me, so let's not deflect. All right, you can do it. Try for 10 minutes not to deflect. You'll be fine.
I don't need to deflect.
You just
anyway.
I haven't even said anything yet. You look at this Arsenal team, second place 3 years in a row. I said this on Hassan channels last week and routed a few people. I think this team peaked. Currently, for where they are, they've peaked. For you to become better, you need to make certain signings that takes this team to the next level. Now, I'm looking at the type of signings they made. Forget Kepa. I felt like it gets spoken about way too much. Who cares? He's a backup goalkeeper. Norgard, Mosquera, even though it's not through yet, but let's just pretend he's there. Mosquera. Who else? Zubamendi. That's their best signing so far. And now Madueke. Did I miss anyone? I don't think so. Now you got these 4 signings. Only one of them, starts for the team. The rest you look at, not a single soul over here feels like there's a ceiling for a Norgard or a Madueke to eventually become starters and take this team to the next level. So when you look at those signings and you compare them to other teams, surely Arsenal fans have the right to say that. Am I saying, because this is what idiots like Rafikov in the chat does. That's what he does. The guy just waits for me to open my mouth to start bitching on YouTube every day. Oh, but he thinks we're going to have world-class players in every position on the bench. I've never said that. But there's certain signings that when you bring in, you could be like, you know what? The ceiling of the signing might take my team to the next level in that position, in that department. And actually, when you feel like, all right, he could make a case to be a starter. He can compete for a starting position. It is good for the team. That takes us to the next level. Example, Wirtz. Now, that's a little bit of an extreme example because how good he is and how much he costs. But when you look at him, where is he going? He's going into that 10 role, potentially in that 10 role in Liverpool. What does that do to Szoboszlai? It makes Szoboszlai now potentially a rotational option. To have Szoboszlai as a rotational option for a team competing for the league, that is very good because Szoboszlai is already a very good level player. He starts in like 90% of the teams in the league. So when you look at these signings that come in and they make starters turn into rotation players, that's good. Same thing for Kirkes. Now, I think Robertson is washed, but he's taken his position. And now you have Robertson on the bench if they keep him for this season. These are the type of signings that when you're trying to win, you go and do. When you sign players that have a ceiling of just being a rotational / bench player, I'm not going to lie, it becomes underwhelming. And you do tend to see what some Arsenal fans see. Do they overdo it sometimes? Yeah, I get it. Sometimes people overdo it. They think they're going to have Ronaldinho on the left, Figo on the right, R9 up front, and that's the only way we could go to win the league. I get that. That's a little bit too much. But I'm not going to lie. As it is right now, especially with the Madueke signing, I think their summer's been underwhelming.
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult because would you say Saka needed a backup based on last season and the season before?
Yes, and I can argue that because I know where you're going with this.
So Saka
let
needed a
him
backup.
finish. Yeah, let him finish.
Saka needed a backup, but your complaint is that Madueke won't break into the starting 11. Who could we have gone and got that would have overtaken Saka into the starting 11?
Okay, I'm happy you asked that question. My issue, by the way, I don't actually dislike Madueke like Arsenal
A name
fans
would do.
Or let me speak. Don't worry about it. I got you
I
with
am.
names. I don't mind Madueke as a lot of people do. If Madueke came from a different team than Chelsea and didn't cost 50 million, this signing would be looked at a lot better than it is. The issue is, in my opinion at least, that this signing was a 50 million fund directly to your rival, who most likely will go and spend that 50 mil, and people are going to be like, oh, why are Chelsea signing all these players? Well, it's because clubs like you and even my club 2 seasons ago fund them with stupid signings like we did with Mason Mount, and you once again do it with Madueke. Now, if you want an alternative, you're not going to even agree with my alternatives, but there's no point, and I'll say it anyways. You had Johan Bakayoko, who, if you want a 1v1 specialist, I thought that would be a good signing. I think he's going to go to Bayer Leverkusen, but he would have been a decent signing from, I think he's on PSV. So
Okay, but back to the point, right? Back to the point.
Fofana from Lyon.
Yeah,
You asked me for
we said
you names.
We said these names. The thing
I said I'd prefer Bakayoko, and we went over the whole paying Chelsea thing. But
so
your point was
we agreed before you even.
But no. But your point was Madueke was bad because there's no chance he's going to overtake Saka. Do you think Bakayoko or Malik Fofana would overtake Bukayo Saka?
For their age and for their profiles, potentially. At least it leaves that little gap where you're like, you know what, maybe they can develop into that play. I don't think anyone's going to come in to displace Saka, because that's not the statement I'm making. But again, it's very hard to displace Saka.
It was literally the statement you made was that they're not coming in and upgrading the starting 11. My argument is you can't. There's no one you can go and get. It doesn't
have to be Saka because Saka's your best player. So I'm not saying.
But we agreed that we needed a backup for him. So we agreed we needed a backup for Saka.
Yeah, that's fine. But
and we agree we can't get an upgrade. So then how's it an underwhelming signing?
Who's starting on the left for you?
Well, that's where I've agreed.
That's the problem,
The
problem is it depends on the window. If the funds allocated, this is what we asked three before you come in. If the funds that is allocated for Madueke hinders Arsenal from signing the left winger if they sell Trossard, now that signing hindered their window. It's not a good signing. Yeah. If that signing doesn't hinder Arsenal,
if this signing wasn't 50 mil, I wouldn't tell you get a signing that is going to eventually displace Saka. That wasn't even my statement. I'm just saying you want at least that feeling that these players that you bring in, eventually in a season or two, you believe they're good enough to develop into becoming potential at least starters. Not that you're going to just come and take over. Saka's like 23, he's not going nowhere.
But as another example, so we bring in Mosquera, who is younger than Saliba. I
don't have a problem with it.
And could develop. But again, so you've listed these underwhelming signings, but then when you use the Liverpool example, you were like, oh, they bring in Wirtz and now Szoboszlai as a backup. Who's the backup for Virgil van Dijk? Like, there are other positions that they've not addressed and don't have a backup in. And depending on fortunes next season, if they suddenly get 2 injuries at centre-back to Konate and Van Dijk, they don't have the backups for that. And it's done.
Aren't they going for Gigi as well?
I don't know.
Well, we haven't.
Yeah.
I think, but I think
they're addressing it at least.
Yeah, but like it's the same thing with Arsenal though. Like say, there's obviously talks of them being potentially interested in Rodrygo, so they'll be addressing the left wing position. I think the big. We keep on saying the big issue is that they've went and signed Madueke before they went in and signed say a Rodrygo or Gyökeres. So that's why it's a bit of a meltdown happening around it.
Right. So that's what for me it all comes back to is. I think it has to be judged at the end of the window. If we go and get, I mean, I don't think we'll get Rodrygo, but if we go and get Eze, who can play off the left, and we go and get Gyökeres done, then you've upgraded in arguably 3 positions with Zubimendi coming in, Gyökeres coming in, and Eze off the left, who for me would be an upgrade on Martinelli. So that's not bad. That's on a team that was, made it to the Champions League semi-final. Like upgrading 3 starting positions, I don't think is and also addressing key issues with the depth. I don't think that's too bad. But
by the way, David Ornstein just tweeted Madueke is leaving the USA camp to take his medical.
That's very strange that they sold him during the freaking club World Cup.
But he didn't play.
He was coming on as a sub. Yeah, but I mean, I'd imagine as soon as you've signed personal terms with another team, like you're checked out of. He's checked out of Chelsea mentally.
Is Eze good enough to start on the left? Is Eze a good left winger?
Well, I don't know because obviously he doesn't really play off the left wing for Palace. He's given free roam in that kind of left attacking mid where he can move out to the left wing. We've kind of played with like a real touchline left winger in when it's been Martinelli, which hasn't worked for us, to be honest. Like, I do think we need to change away from that. So yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, Madueke's played not Madueke. Eze's played left wing for England, and I thought he was exciting when he did it. He's incredibly two-footed. I mean, I like him as a player.
It's a different type of left winger, though, isn't it?
It's a different type of left winger, but then it's also so is Madueke. If the plan to give him more game time is to use him off the left, then that's we've not played with a left-footed left winger in I can't remember the last time, apart from when like Kieran Tierney did a stint at left wing in the final 10 minutes. So there's the other thing that no one has even comprehended or thought might be a thing is that maybe Arteta doesn't want to play the same way next season that we did this season. Like Gyökeres is very different to what we've had at striker over the last couple of years.
Yes.
Eze is a very different player. Madueke is a very different player in terms of being far more kind of aggressive, wants to run with the ball and then shoot. It's either he's going to mold them back into being what are currently Arsenal players, or we're going to try something different.
I believe Eze is going to have the same impact on Arsenal as Olise had on Bayern.
Hopefully.
I don't know. I think it's much tougher league, like in terms of like Bayern Munich.
No, but I believe Eze has the talent. He just needs the right teammates, the right structure of the team to actually have that much of an impact. The thing about it is 27.
So
it's
you
not
think
22
Eze
like
is as talented as Olise?
Yes, yeah. By the way, Staffy, I've stated this when both of them were at Crystal Palace.
Okay, so you've been wrong for about 2 years now. That's great.
Maybe.
Doesn't change the fact that you're still wrong.
Really, people don't think that Eze.
I thought they were on a level before Olise
like
moved
Eze.
to Bayern. I felt like they were pretty much on a level in terms of.
Are you guys serious?
Are
you guys making fun of this take? I think this is a wild. I get it if you say it's debatable. Hold on.
He's not.
If you say it's debatable, I understand it. But again, people now take football opinions as. Okay, Mo thinks that Eze is very close to Olise. No, he's too far. That is the same as 0% Arsenal against Real Madrid. Like, nobody even wants to debate it. It's very, but that's the whole point. I believe that Eze is so talented to the point that even at 27, if Eze goes to Man City, he will be better than Reinders in the midfield. Eze, every time, I promise you, Eze, every time I watch him play football, he moves the needle for the team he plays for, which is Crystal Palace. Every time. He is so good in carrying the ball. He's physically is built like a tank when he has the ball. You just watch Eze. You can't displace the guy when he plays. The problem is he was fucking coach under Roy Hodgson, Patrick Vieira, and now under Hoysler, he shined for Crystal Palace because he's a more progressive, a little bit progressive coach. I believe he goes to Arsenal and have players like Declan Rice, Zubamendi, maybe a Victor Gyökeres. I think he even shines more. Remember at Crystal Palace, he's the one that everyone looks at to be marked. I genuinely believe he's so good to the point that he can change actually Odegaard's position at Arsenal completely. He can shift Odegaard from that place.
That he's good. I think we all could agree to a certain level that we think he's good, depending on how good you think he is. The statement was
I believe he's very good.
I believe the statement was that you think he's going to do what Olise is doing at Bayern.
No, yeah, I think at Crystal Palace they were
Olise
close.
is better than Eze.
I think at Palace they were close in terms of like the ability and the impact they were having for Crystal Palace. But I think since Olise has gone to Bayern Munich, he's taken that to another level.
Olise was 20 years old as well. The other guy was 25. I mean.
So yeah, so like his ceiling is probably higher, and that's what we're seeing now at Bayern. Like I think last season in the league alone he had like I think he had the second highest output for assists, or maybe the highest even. I think 15 assists or something in Bundesliga alone. So like. I think I don't know if Eze will go to Arsenal and put out the same type of numbers. Now they're slightly different in terms of like the players, but I think Eze going to Arsenal will probably push Odegaard, which I think is more what they need, because Odegaard in the second half of last season was pretty poor. So like we're having a discussion about him playing in left wing, which is not his natural position. But I think if you're bringing in Eze, you're looking at saying Odegaard, you need to improve, otherwise we have someone that's going to come in and replace you, because they didn't have that last year. I think that was a big issue when he wasn't performing. Saka was obviously out injured. You don't have a striker. It's like how realistically we have to take set pieces because that's the only way we're going to get goals. Because like we don't have the same kind of attacking threat as Liverpool did. Do you know what I mean? And that's what they kind of came unstuck. So yeah.
Yeah, before we go on, big up everyone that joined us from the Football Terrace, guys. Can we get the likes up a little bit? We've got 1,500 people in the house. So hit that like button, people. Thank you for the 400 or 500 people that joined us from the Football Terrace. Let's get the likes up, people. We're only on 200 likes, to be honest with you. Alex here is saying, Arsenal problem is that they have 3 to 4 players that they think the best of the best. Saka isn't a Salah. Rice isn't a Gerrard or Lampard. Saliba and Gabriel aren't Van Dijk or Terry. All good players. But number one, no one is that guy. I get it, Alex.
I would argue that, like, we don't have a squad of 11 players that are comparable to the best players.
Legends of the Premier
25
League.
years. Like no shit.
Bit,
but also, I would argue that like the majority of Arsenal fans would say actually, like we don't have 2 or 3 like.
I haven't seen an Arsenal fan say that this guy's better than Van Dijk.
Yeah, the whole reason that we've been able to compete is because across the 11, like it's just a very high general level. Like when we competed 22, 23 and 23, 24, we scored more goals than we ever had in a season without having someone anywhere near the level of Thierry Henry. But those goals were spread out across the entire attack. Same with the defense. Like we've got the best defense in the league, have done for 2 or 3 years, because we have a lot of good level defenders. I don't
Can I ask a question regarding Liverpool, which is a good segue, but also, are Liverpool significantly better than the rest of the league?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
I think it was significantly better.
So so why do people talk in the mainstream media and even some YouTubers and some like content? They talk like this: that Liverpool are significantly better than everyone around
because they
won the league so easily. Yeah, they won the league so easily last year. Do you know what I mean? So that would be the narrative. But I think, like, even speaking to like most Liverpool fans, we feel that we have a good team. We have a team definitely that, in our eyes, should be winning the Premier League next year. But we're not like naive to say that other teams aren't going to strengthen. Like Man City had like one of the worst years they've ever had in the last decade, and probably other than Guardiola's first year, probably his worst season for them. Arsenal know they need to go out and get over the line, so they're going to go out and potentially sign the players that they need to sign. I don't like. For me, I think as well, the one worry I have at Liverpool right now is there's a lot of change. Like if Diaz goes, Núñez goes, you probably need to bring in 2 or 3 more players.
Konate goes as well.
Or the Konate talk. I think he'll likely stay and he'll probably go on a free next year. But like we were making a lot of changes. Even Kelleher, like Kelleher is overlooked because Alisson does pick up a lot of injuries, and Kelleher comes in, is a really, really good goalkeeper as a backup keeper. And obviously you don't know what you're going to get with Mamardashvili coming in. So there's a lot of changes from Liverpool side as well. And we don't know what the effects will happen with Jota. I think that will have an impact on the squad that maybe we haven't really started to talk about yet, because of obviously it's still very raw. So there's a lot of change in Liverpool, and it gives other teams the opportunity to maybe, like say, go ahead of them. But I think they'll have confidence. They will have confidence because I think they probably have the 2 best players in the league, other than you could maybe argue Rodri, and that's Salah and Van Dijk, and that's the difference right now. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you look at Arsenal and you're saying, I know that comment was Gerrard, Scholes, Lampard, whatever, but like the difference right now is they have 2 living legends within the Premier League, and that's Salah and Van Dijk.
But we do this every year though. People are incredibly like what's the word? Basically, the end of last season is so ingrained in that's going to happen next season. Like it's like people would never have comprehended that Man City could drop off last season, but then they did. People, like, as an example, I think Spurs will be fighting for Champions League / Europa League spots. But people, because they finished 17th last season, wouldn't even be on people's radar that Spurs could possibly bounce back like that. And so I think it's the same with Liverpool. Like, Liverpool walked the league last season, so people assume that they'll do the same again this season. All it takes is an injury to Van Dijk or Salah early in the season, and suddenly, like, there could be major problems. So, and especially with Salah, like the one thing I look at as a genuine weakness right now is that right-hand side, where if Salah doesn't put up another record-breaking season, immediately then that's a drop-off on what you had last season from that specific part of the pitch. And if he gets injured and or with AFCON this season.
He's away for 6 weeks of AFCON.
Yeah, and it's
Six?
like you
Is it not 4? Is it 6?
No, it's the
In
21st
total,
of December
you make
to
it
like
the
the
whole way
16th.
through.
Yeah, we make it to the final. 21st of December to the 16th of February.
But the
That's
thing
like
is,
the
you
path.
might well make up for any potential drop off from Salah with Florian Wirtz, but that's not a guarantee.
But I think I will, even with that, on going on that kind of segue with, I don't think Wirtz is like a Salah replacement. I think it's Trent. Do you know what I mean? Liverpool are going to be completely changing how they kind of operate in terms of creativity, because naturally, I know McAllister had done a good job of it last year in terms of maybe being a little bit further up and like having a little bit more say in terms of dictating play when we had the ball going forward. But for the guts of like 10 years, it's been Trent that's kind of been our big creative output. And maybe like putting balls down the line to Salah, or say going long to Diaz or Gakpo on the left side. I think Wirtz coming in as a 10 completely changes the dynamic of how Liverpool operate in terms of creativity. So it'd be interesting to see how we deal with that, because naturally we have just workhorses in midfield and then a really good front three, and then Trent and Robertson were creative outlets. So I think, there's a lot of change at Liverpool. I still back them as my team. I still back them. I think they have enough quality. I think Slot has shown that he's tactically really good in different situations. I would say they're probably like, it just depends how they maybe react to obviously to everything that's gone on, and how like some of the new players like gel in. But I think usually with Liverpool, they usually get signings right, especially when they spend big. I know Núñez is probably the one that you would all turn to, but you think of like Van Dijk, I know Salah, Mane, like even they're like lower fees, but when they usually go out and spend big money, they usually do get it right. So I think with Michael Edwards there, I think they would have done their homework, that buying these types of players are the right ones. And if they go out and sign like an Isak, then I think that just takes it to another level again.
Yeah, but, okay. Now, if Liverpool sign Isak, I believe they will walk the league. I generally believe they will walk the league. But if you don't sign Isak, who comes in? Is Ekitike going to get you 20 goals?
Yeah, but we didn't. The thing is, though, Mo, as well, you need to remember, we didn't have a striker last year. Do you know what I mean? Like Núñez was like not relied upon. Obviously, Jota had a lot of injuries and stuff. He was in and out of the team, but like that's not
I
how.
think Gakpo's quality.
Yeah, but can I respond to this?
Gakpo's unreal. I think the Diaz situation will be interesting to watch, because I think people, especially in the Liverpool fan base, they undervalue his importance, because when Jota and Núñez weren't firing, he went up front, and Gakpo can't play there. He just can't play up front for whatever reason. He don't get the best out of him. And Diaz done a job for the team, even though he was playing really well on the left wing at the start of the season, and helped us out in so many games, even though he probably wasn't playing to his potential. So I think it'd be interesting if he leaves, what happens with that, because the Gakpo and Diaz on the left, I think you have literally two of the best left wingers in the league competing against one another and pushing each other on. Diaz and Gakpo. I know you don't rate Diaz and Gakpo. Me and you have had this conversation before, but they are two of the best left wingers in the league.
I rate Gakpo.
Gakpo is one of those underrated players in the league. He's so underrated. Big goals, consistent. Like, since he went out there, he's been unbelievable. I don't know how Klopp never seen it, and like since Slot has come in, he's just like, you're left wing, that's your position, done.
I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna ask Saf for this. I think people are blinded by what Salah did last season. The Liverpool team was good and very good. Salah had a historical season. Rory mentioned this early. Like, Jamie started his...
I think people know that.
Okay. So Jamie started his talk by saying, when I spoke about the striker, but we didn't have a striker last season. And we still won the league.
Yeah.
One of the reasons you win the league when you don't have a striker is when you have a winger or an inside forward that gives you the best ever Premier League season in the history since the Premier League has started.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen every year.
No, I agree.
If Salah goes to the normal Salah, which is Salah is normal, is still fantastic. It's 25 to
30 GA.
Yeah, 25 to 35 GA. That is his average, right?
Yeah.
Liverpool don't win the league. If Salah by the way, and that is a magnificent season from an inside forward at 25 to 30. Saka never had that, but one season he had 25 GA. Salah has been better than Saka in every single season in terms of GA. If Liverpool didn't have a striker last season and Salah had still a great season, Liverpool don't win the league. Okay.
I agree.
They might win the league because Arsenal was shit and Man City was shit. You know what I mean? But normally speaking, in a title race, you need your striker to chip in goals. You need your forward.
What are you suggesting with that statement?
Liverpool need a striker because Okay, so the probability of Salah repeating this next season is very minimum.
I agree.
It's very, very minimum.
We said that before, but because I said it, I was called a hater. But you could say it. That's fine.
But you
But
know,
I agree with you. But
Because I'm
you
Egyptian,
just-
you're American.
ماشي المهم okay, but you just talked about Ekitike and you were like, oh, but he's not gonna give 20 goals a season. Well, why does he have to score 20 goals a season?
Because
And we're
Diaz
talking
already
about the
scored
league, by the way,
9
not all
goals
comps. I'm talking about in the league.
in the league. Because already Diaz scored 9 goals, right?
Okay.
And it required Salah to get 50 GA to actually Liverpool.
To be
have
fair,
that
Salah, a
magnificent
lot of his
season.
GA was probably not needed because they won the league by a landslide. So actually, take some of his GA out, they still would have won the league. But the reason I'm answering this question, I feel like the whole 20 goal a season thing, it might be one of the most overdone things on YouTube. I'm clocking on some things that people repeat without actually understanding it.
Go ahead.
This is one of them. So when you look at the league last season, only 4 players, I think it was 4 or 5, scored over 20 GA, over 20 goals. And some of them, let's be honest, probably not going to repeat it again. Chris Wood, I think, was one of them. Let's be honest, Chris Wood is never scoring 20 goals a season again. Fluke season. When I look at the players that scored over 20 goals, Salah, 29, Isak, 23, and I think Haaland, let's be fair, he was injured. He had like 22. And funny enough, the last name was Mbuemo, 20 goals, which I don't even think he'll repeat that when he goes to United. I think he'll get less. But that's how rare 20 goal a season strikers are.
Okay.
So when you actually look at the last few years, you'll always find 2-3 players at most that score over 20 goals. So Ekitike coming into any team, more likely Liverpool, because that's the team we're linking him with right now, he actually doesn't have to come in and score 20 goals. Because if he comes in, he's more of a double-double player. He likes to get a lot of assists. If he gets like somewhere around 10 assists, which is capable when you play next to a player like Salah, and let's just say he contributes with 12 to 15 goals, that's an amazing signing.
That's a very fair enough argument
in the last few years. Look, if you ask me for these numbers, and I don't remember, Jamie will probably tell me that was what's his name, Firmino. That's probably the last one to give similar numbers playing in the 9, and I don't know that for a fact, but most likely.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, but if you, there normally aren't many 20-goal season players, but if you go back through the last however many Premier League winners, how many of them did it without having a 20-goal?
That's a good statement. No,
yeah. Well, but Rory, you're forgetting that we're assuming that Salah will still get 20 goals.
You're right.
We're assuming that Salah will be 20 goals.
Yeah, but it's not about a striker. It's about a player.
A player,
That's why I said Salah will get a 20 goal plus. Yes,
Salah can score easily over 20 goals playing next to Ekitike, by the way.
But if he gets 30 GA, and this
I hear the argument now.
But if Salah gets 30 GA, right, and I think Liverpool they're probably smart enough to say, right, you're going another year older. The season you probably had is likely you're not going to do again. So let's go out and maybe get players that can help you. That's all right. They're still in the market for another striker, and they've went out and signed one of the best 10s in world football. Like, they're not stupid in terms of what way they're going to maybe attack next season. And I think that's why Wirtz maybe comes into it. You're hoping that he can maybe take away some of that pressure. I think that's one of the reasons why Liverpool are so firm in that they don't want to sell Diaz, because they feel like he is versatile enough that he can still have an impact on this team to potentially help Salah, Wirtz, Gakpo, whoever else. So, yeah, I don't think Salah will have that type of season again. And I don't think Liverpool should rely on Salah to have that season again. So I think we will have to get goals elsewhere. But yeah, that's just the joys of football. Do you know what I mean? You have to find other ways to win trophies. And the difference is that we have Salah. Do you know what I mean? We have Salah. We have someone that can score us 30 goals. Like, Arsenal don't have that. City are obviously have Haaland, but like, is Haaland gonna, like, say, be able to maybe help other players get more goals? I don't know. They kind of everything goes through him in a sense. You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna lie. If you watch him in this Club World Cup, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit impressed by him. And I've been someone who's been criticizing him.
Impressed.
The way Haaland has been passing the ball in the final third right now, I don't know if he's been working on this game, but he's been linking up play very well in the final third.
Yeah. Let me do this two super chat so we can actually finish, so win the time. People talk positive about Liverpool because they aren't Arsenal. Injuries killed the title race last season. That's what Magnum's saying.
Absolute waffle.
Yeah, but they don't talk the same because we won the league. See what I mean? That's the difference. And like,
let me talk bad about the team that won the league. Come on, what are we doing?
But I'm not stupid either. Do you know what I mean? And any Liverpool fan that says if Salah got injured for 3 months that like we would have been in the same position that we would have been is stupid. Do you know what I mean? Like, say you're to switch positions. It's not normal. Or it's normal that like if you lose your best player that you'll be significantly weaker. and that's what happened with Arsenal. But yeah, I just think like people say like, oh, if X gets injured, if this player gets injured, well, obviously, if you lose one of your best players, you're obviously going to have a worse season.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
normal football like talk, but it's like it doesn't matter. That's like Salah's injury record is one of the best you probably have ever seen in the last 10 years. I think he's like the most he's missed most Premier League seasons. He has like 35 games a season. So like to have a player like that and he's getting 30 GA, well then that's just helpful to your cause.
Last one. Does any of you think Arsenal injuries isn't a reason for the title race being killed off early? Say Salah got an injury, what would Liverpool say? We just answered this. Magnum, appreciate it. We literally.
I think the only thing people get wrong, I think, is that people think last season was, like Staffy said, Arsenal had peaked because of last season. The likelihood of that situation that we had with injuries happening again is highly unlikely. So, yeah, that's why I don't think Arsenal have peaked. And I think people underestimate even what the current group of players we've got before signings. Like, people forget what they're actually capable of. But we'll wait and see.
I'm actually with this. I'm not sure.
I just don't think you have one more gear in these players unless you actually make signings. I think with the current set of players, I've seen them peak over the last 3 years. I think this is as good as they get. I think for them to take a next level, is that you need to upgrade.
So you don't think that Saliba's going to get better? You don't think Lewis Kelly's going to get better? You don't think Saka's going to get better? You don't think Timba's going to get better?
How much better does Saliba get already? How much better does Saka get already?
Yeah, but I don't think it's the players. I think it's more like you're kind of looking to Arteta more than anyone. Do you know what I mean? You're like, can you find the answers to get them over this group of players over the line?
That's why they need Eucharist.
Yeah. No, 100. But that's what we keep saying. You know what I mean?
But again, I mean, like,
I think player-wise, I think they have the potential to win a league.
I mean, how much higher gear? Like, realistically, I know obviously we lost to PSG, but anyone that's honest knows that we gave them a very close 2 legs.
Much better than Inter and Real Madrid.
You beat on XG, that counts.
Well, we did, like, I know it doesn't count for anything, but like there were chances there, and that was with Marino up top and no Gabriel and all of that. So I just think like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not convinced that we don't have the next.
I think we'll see. I really want Arsenal to sign a striker to see what's going on. But listen, people, Rory's channel in the description. Jamie's channel in the description. Now Staffy's channel is in the description as well, since he doesn't respond and decided to join us later.
Yeah, not my fault. You do stream 7 a.m. my time. Today you caught me on a good day where I just woke up early, got my coffee, and joined. I can't promise I'll do this every time.
Check out the stream that Staffy did about Terry yesterday. That was actually
did you like it? Be honest, did you like it?
Gold. Check out Rory's channel as well. The
United
football
fans,
story.
I have bad news for you. If you're not happy with your summer, it means one thing and one thing only, according to Terry. You have something up your ass. You might enjoy that. Some people might not. So it's up to you.
Guys, let's just. Thank you, Magnum. Staffy need to learn how to smile and be positive. Crying in your room doesn't make Arsenal better, young man.
I spent all day in my room crying and upset. I never smile. I never find joy in life. I never actually leave my room. I don't go out. I wasn't just at the Chelsea game 2 days ago with a lot of a lot of YouTube content creators. We didn't have a great day. We didn't go to the mall after and grab dinner and drinks and food and all that. We didn't do that. I'm just a miserable fuck who sits in his room, doesn't like anything about Arsenal. That's what I do. Thank you.
Big up everyone that is here.
After the super
I will see you guys later. Staffy versus Don versus Terry on Straight Facts versus Lawless. We'll see you guys soon. We're out of here.